Hi guys, thanks for joining me on Making with Marilyn. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to move an image that you find from the internet into Cricut Design Space so that you can use it in a project. The image that I'm going to move into Cricut Design Space tonight is a very simple image. It's just a teardrop shape so that I can cut some earrings. So let me show you how I do this. On the screen here, you can see that I did a search. I googled teardrop clip art free, and the image that I want to use is right here. I like how it has this nice rounded top, and you'll see later in the video when I put my hardware in my earrings how that can be helpful. So I'm just going to move it onto my desktop. On a Mac, you just drag it over and drop it onto your desktop. On a PC, I believe that you do a right click and then you can save it in whatever location you'd like to, and you can name it. So I'll click out of that. Now to get the image that I just saved onto my desktop into Design Space, you click on Upload. These are images I've already uploaded into Design Space. Click Upload Image. Click on Browse. Now this is my image right here. It's on my desktop. If you saved yours in a different file, you could just click right here and find the file that you saved it in. I could either double click on this, or I can click on it once and click Open. Now on this screen, Design Space is going to trace whatever it sees over here, for lack of a better word, and you have three options. You can either say that it's a simple image, a moderately complex image, or a complex image with black and white. That does have high contrast colors, and it's a very simple image. So I'm going to click on Simple, and then I'll click Continue. Now hopefully on this version you can see that I have a preview button right here. It's right here. For some reason on the new version of Design Space, the offline version, my recording program has been cutting off the bottom. At this time, we need to look at this image and we need to see if it looks like what I want it to look like. I'm going to click on the preview right down here, and you will see that right now Cricut Design Space only recognizes the perimeter of this shape as the cut lines. So let me hide that. To make it into the image that we want, you have this Select and Erase wand right here. So you click on what you want to go away. So I'll click on the left part of the gray, and you see it went away. This checkerboard pattern, that indicates that this is a transparent background, and there's nothing in this transparent background that Cricut Design Space would cut. So let me show you the preview now, and I'll hide the preview. So now we need to click over on the right side to get rid of the gray over there. Now when I go down here and click on preview, that's exactly what I want. But before I move on, I want to show you I could continue getting rid of things in this shape. I could click on this gray, I could click on the black, but you can see it's a little bit dirty in here. And so I could go over here to the Erase tool, click on it, and then I would erase the little bits and pieces that are in here. If you didn't erase those, your Cricut would try to cut those out. So again, right down here, I'll click on Preview, and that's what the Cricut would cut out. Now since I want my earring to be solid, I'm going to go ahead and click the Undo button until it gets back to where I want it, which is right here. I'll click Continue. Now the next step is whether you're going to save your image as a print then cut image or as a cut image. So print then cut is when you want to print something onto cardstock or paper and then insert it into your Cricut and have your Cricut cut around the outside of it. I want to cut out leather, so I'm going to click over here, telling Design Space to save it as a cut image. And then I can give it a name, and I'll name it Teardrop Earrings. Now I'll click Save, and here's our image. So now, to get this image inserted into a Cricut project, I click on the image, and then right here in green it says Insert Images. Hopefully you can see that on the video. And there we go. So I want to make this really large just so you can see it is a very nice and smooth image. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this to yellow because I want to show you one more thing. Now some people, like me, I like to punch the holes in my earrings with a punch tool. But a lot of people like for the Cricut to cut the hole out so that you don't have to do it manually. So let me show you what you would do. You'd click on Shapes, click on a circle. Now I like my circles to be 0.08 inches. And then I want to go ahead and make my earrings the size I would have them. And in this case, I want the height of my earring to be 2.75. And then I want my earring to be a little bit narrower. So what I need to do to make it a little narrower is I need to unlock it. If I don't unlock it and I make it narrower, then it's also going to get shorter. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I want the width to be, let's just change it, 589. That gets it a little bit narrower. Okay, this also changed, so the proportion looks exactly the same. So I'm going to need to unlock the proportions so that you can change one side or the other, and I'm going to put this 2.491 back to 2.75. So I'll click on More, and I'm going to change my height to 2.75. And there we go. I like that shape just a little bit better. It's a little bit narrower for the height, and that's the way I like it. Okay, so here is my circle that I'm going to punch out of my earring. So you just kind of put it up where you think you would want your circle to be. I like to get it close enough to the top that I don't have to use a huge jump ring. But I can tell that it's not quite centered. So you select both shapes, and then you can click Align. I'm going to make this larger so you can really see it. Okay, so now we click Align, and I want you to watch the yellow earring and the circle. Either the yellow earring is going to move over to the left a little bit, or the circle will move slightly to the right when I click Center horizontally. Okay, so the circle barely moved to the right to get it in the center. So make our screen smaller again. Now the next thing that I need to do is I need to duplicate my earring. You can tell that both layers are selected because they're both in gray, and I'm going to click Duplicate. Now since I don't like the Cricut to cut the holes in mine, I'm just going to delete the two holes I just wanted to show you. Now because I'm limited on the amount of cork fabric that I have, I want to turn one of the earrings upside down and one straight up. So I want this one on the mat about 2 inches down from the top and 2 inches over. This helps me know where to put my cork on my mat. And then this one I'm going to put right here. And what I can do, because I know how much cork I have, and I know that I have 6 inches by, at the narrowest, 6 inches by almost 3 inches. So let's see together how big these two shapes are. So they're 5 inches by not even 2.5 inches. So this is a good way to place my two shapes for the amount of cork that I have. I'm going to go ahead and attach those, because if I didn't, let me show you what would happen. When I click Make It, see what it does? It just puts them where it wants to. It puts them where it thinks is the most efficient place. So what I need to do is I need to select both of those and then click Attach. And you'll see when I click Make It, it keeps the two earrings where I want them relative to each other. It attached these two earrings to each other. But I just have to move it back down to my 2 inches down and my 2 inches over so that I know where to place my cork. So I'm going to click Continue. Now, if my earrings had words or numbers or anything on them that I needed to face a certain direction, and I wanted them to look exactly like they looked on my screen, I would have turned on the mirror. But in this case, it doesn't matter. I've been very happy with cutting the cork with this faux leather paper thin setting, so I'll click on it. Default pressure is fine. I've used this cork enough that I know that it's going to cut through with the default pressure, but it's not going to cut through too much. It reminds me again, make sure the mirror is turned on, but in my case it doesn't matter since I don't have words or a number. It wants me to make sure I have my fine point blade and clamp B, which I do, and now I can load my mat. So let me get my camera turned around and we'll keep working. Now this originally was a strong grip mat, but the last time I cleaned it up and let it dry, it really wasn't sticky enough to be a strong grip mat, so I just marked through it and put standard. That way I remember don't use it when I need a strong grip mat, but it's perfectly fine for something like cork or vinyl. This is just basic contact paper. This is white contact paper, and I'm going to put this down under my cork to protect my mat. So I'll just cut around it. Now my cut's going to start about 2 inches down and 2 inches from the left. So I'm going to give it a little bit of cushion and have it a little bit to the left of the 2 inch mark over here and a little above the 2 inch mark up top. You are putting this contact paper down sticky side up, and that's what your cork's going to attach to. I use it when I'm doing cork because the cork will stain your mat. This is a dye on it, and that will stain your mat. So we'll put this a little less than 2 inches over and a little less than 2 inches down. And get it braid on really well. Now typically the cork does not shift, but I am going to use just a little bit of tape, and this is just regular Scotch tape. When I do leather, I use this super hold tape, but this is the only super hold I have, so I'm just using regular Scotch tape for now. And I know my cut's not going to cut right here in this corner, so I'm going to attach it there. And then I know it's not going to get all the way to the bottom, so I'll just put tape all the way across. And this is just a little bit of added insurance for me to know that that's not going to move around. I'll give it one more good braying. Now the other thing, I was supposed to make sure that I had my fine point blade in. I do. I'm going to make sure it's clean. So now I'm going to load my mat. And it's ready to send to cut. So I'll press the C button. So I'll go ahead and unload it and move my maker out of the way. So we'll go ahead and take this tape off. And then I can just start peeling it up from the bottom. And you see how well that cut. It just cut right through that cork. So to remove these, I like to bend my mat down, and then that makes this kind of lose contact. On this watercolor cork, I have used these kind of a coppery brass colored fishhook pour, and I like how they turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and use those. There is a little slight bit of gold in the earrings, so a gold fishhook would look nice too. Now some people actually have the Cricut cut the holes in their earrings. I have had success doing that sometimes, but other times it hasn't worked out so well, so I like to just punch my own holes, and I use this tool I got at Harbor Freight with a coupon for about $6. So I have it on the smallest hole punch, and it's 5/64 of an inch. So what you do is you just very gently, very lightly, you put the press down where you think it should go. Now I am trying to not have any jump rings on these earrings, so I need the hole to be fairly close to the top. So you can see that my hole press or my hole punch is right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull it really close to my face so I can make sure that's exactly where I want it. So I like where that is. I'll press, and there you see the hole. Sometimes with cork it comes out and it's up in here. Sometimes with cork you just have to press it out. You can press it out with the end of your fish hook, or you can use a weeding tool. So again, I'm just very gently putting enough pressure on it so that it stays where I want it to get a better look at it. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, I'll go ahead and try that. And it came out as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where the end of my metal is, and you can see it's on that left side, so it curves around and then it ends on the left side. So I'm going to take my little needle nose pliers. I'm not going to pull it that way and open it up to make it bigger. I'm going to actually twist it up toward me instead. That keeps the circle more of a circle shape. Just put my cork right over it. Then I'll just grab my loop again and then twist it back and twist it far enough that it gets back into position, and then I kind of pull up on it so that the end of it angles down a little bit more. Okay, so notice how, hopefully you can see it, notice how the loop of the fish hook goes straight up and there's enough room for it to be at the top. Sometimes people get the hole too far down, and so they have to have it more like this, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't look all that good. So if this were too far down for this loop to work on it, I would just add a jump ring or two, but it works in our case. So again, I need to find the end, and the end is on this right side, so I probably had it turned this way before. The end is over on the left side now. So I'm just going to grab it and twist it. Place my material down over the wire. grab the end of my loop, and then sometimes you have to pull this little ball up out of the way, or some people will actually turn them upside down to work on them. And then I just twisted it back in place. And see, again, that fits over the top nicely, no need for a jump ring. The thing that's nice when you don't use jump rings is the more jump rings you use, the more the earrings will move around on your ear, and they can get turned sideways or backwards a lot easier. If you can put this fishhook directly on the earring, that works beautifully. Now, if you have 2 layered earrings, you're probably not going to be able to do that, but 1 layer, especially cork, because it's thin, works fine. So here's our earrings. I got this cork from Springfield Leather Company, and it's called either blue watercolor or just watercolor, but it's really pretty. It has some gold flakes in it. Now, if you liked my video, if you found anything in it helpful or inspiring, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section. And if you'd like to watch what I'll be working on in the future, hit the subscribe button. Then, if you tap the bell, YouTube should notify you when I upload new content. Thanks for joining me. I'm Marilyn. Bye-bye.